ESPN just dropped a bombshell, and if you're a Caitlin Clark fan, you might want to sit down for this one, because what they're quietly admitting about the 2026 WNBA season isn't optimistic, it's alarming. Welcome back to Her Hoops, where we don't sugarcoat the truth, and today, the truth is uncomfortable. While fans are counting down the days for Caitlin Clark's full return, ESPN is signaling something very different behind the scenes. No deal, no progress, and a league drifting straight towards status quo. The most dangerous place the WNBA can be.
ESPN just told the shocking truth about Caitlin Clark and all WNBA players' 2026 season. Guys, they're headed to status quo. For this one here, we got to go all the way up to New York. Let's get it. Let's go. We got a little tiny smidget of an update in regards to the CBA negotiations, man, and Caitlin Clark's season.
This isn't just about paperwork or negotiations anymore. This is about momentum. This is about timing. This is about a league standing at the exact moment it should be sprinting forward and instead hitting the brakes. Training camps? On pause. Draft chatter? Silent. Free agency buzz? Gone. And Caitlin Clark, the player who changed viewership, ticket sales, and national attention, is now caught in the middle of a power struggle that could reshape the entire season. So the question isn't if something breaks.
This just came out about 10 minutes ago. It says WNBA CBA negotiations. If another extension is unlikely, what's next? What does status quo mean? And which issues are players focusing on hours ahead of the deadline? The deadline is today, y'all. It's definitely today. Let's head on over to Google, pull up this article, and see where we at, because there's two articles that we got to go over. So first, we're going to listen to Nafisa Collier. I believe this was yesterday. Let's give it a listen.
The question is, who blinks first, the league or the players? If you want the real breakdown, hit that like button, subscribe to Her Hoops, and let's get into what ESPN is really telling us. To understand why this ESPN report matters so much, you have to understand where the WNBA is right now. For over 15 months, the league and the Players Association have been negotiating a new CBA. 15 months. Extensions were granted. Deadlines were pushed. Hope was sold. And yet here we are.
I definitely wasn't expecting it to blow up the way that it did. Like, I knew people in our community obviously would see it, but I definitely didn't know that I was going to gain the traction that it did. And sorry, you said, how do I feel now, like a couple months later with our negotiations?
Yeah, and the focus of a lot of that comment was about the leadership. So how are you feeling about the leadership?
Yeah, I mean, nothing has changed like since then, but I feel really confident in RPA and where we are with.
At the final hour, with no deal in place. According to ESPN, the league is now preparing to enter what's called status quo. And don't let that phrase fool you. Status quo doesn't mean stability. It means uncertainty. It means the current CBA expires with no replacement. And suddenly, the door opens to things the WNBA can't afford right now. A player strike or an owner lockout.
So that was Nafisa Collier, man, speaking about these negotiations and the update. Now, it goes on to say Breanna Stewart, the vice president of WNBA Players Association, said Thursday that the league and players union will not agree to another collective bargaining agreement extension at Friday's deadline, meaning both parties would instead enter a period of status quo. Now, the WNBA and WBPA previously agreed to 2 extensions for a current deal.
Players like Breanna Stewart and union leadership have already confirmed it. Another extension isn't coming. The clock hits midnight, and the league moves into uncharted territory. And here's the part fans aren't being told loudly enough. This timing is disastrous. This is supposed to be the offseason where expansion drafts, free agency, college stars, and Caitlin Clark headlines dominate the news cycle. Instead, everything is frozen.
Both plus that Stewart and other players are saying about the negotiations. Now, it goes on to say, as of right now, what does status quo mean? For one, not a work stoppage, at least not yet. Under the status quo, the working conditions of the current CBA negotiations would be maintained.
No transactions, no hype, no momentum. ESPN might not say it directly, but the message is clear. The WNBA is risking its most important growth window in decades. And Caitlin Clark? She's standing right in the middle of it. All right, let's break it down. What does status quo actually mean for Caitlin Clark, the WNBA, and the 2026 season? Because ESPN's headlines only scratch the surface. The reality is more complicated and more dramatic. Step 1. No work stoppage. Yet. Sounds good, right? Wrong. The current agreement prohibits either side from officially striking or locking out the other. But that's just a temporary pause. The moment negotiations collapse completely, the league could face a player-initiated strike or an owner lockout. That's the sword hanging over every team, every player, and yes, every fan eagerly waiting for the season to start. Step 2. Frozen off-season logistics. Expansion drafts, free agency moves, rookie signings, all delayed. Caitlin Clark's return, normally the story of the offseason, is now tangled in this gridlock. Her debut, her contract, her impact on the league, all in limbo. Step 3. Pressure on both sides. The league can't risk alienating fans. Players can't risk being undercut on a transformational deal. Yet here we are, 15 months of back and forth, and both sides are stuck staring each other down. Put simply, status quo isn't safety. It's a countdown. And every tick of the clock makes the 2026 season more uncertain, and Caitlin Clark's return more precarious. Here's where it gets messy. The WNBA is presenting one face to the public, but behind closed doors, it's a battlefield. ESPN reports that the league isn't even considering a lockout, but players are seriously contemplating a strike. That's not just tension. That's a ticking time bomb in a league that's finally breaking into the mainstream. And let's be real, the contradictions are wild. Nafisa Keir, vice president of the WNBA PA, is publicly praising union solidarity and professionalism. She talks about a bright future and transformational negotiations. Meanwhile, she runs a competing league, unrivaled, that could benefit if the strike actually happens. The optics are complicated, to say the least. Then there's the vote. Reports suggest not everyone voted for a strike. Maybe 2 to 3% of players opted out. Could that be why we're heading to status quo instead of full-blown labor action? It's possible. But the tension is undeniable. Unity on one side, pressure on the other, and a league trying desperately to keep the season alive. And Caitlin Clark? She's the canary in this coal mine. Her return isn't just about on-court dominance. It's about marketing, ratings, and credibility. Every day the deal drags on. Every headline about negotiations, every hint of conflict threatens not just the season, but the momentum she's brought to the league. Status quo isn't calm. It's a pressure cooker, and something has to give. Soon. Now let's get into the nitty-gritty. What exactly are we dealing with under this status quo scenario? And why is Caitlin Clark's 2026 return hanging in the balance? First, the CBA itself. The current collective bargaining agreement has expired, and any new deal would address salary caps, player benefits, travel conditions, and even marketing rights. For players, this isn't just a paycheck. It's fair treatment, long-term stability, and the chance to grow a league they've spent years building. Nafisa Keir called this era the most transformational she's been part of, and she's not exaggerating. Next, the player proposals. Reports show they're asking for better revenue sharing, improved travel schedules, and enhanced healthcare. Changes that align with what players deserve, but also increase operational complexity for owners. This is where the tension spikes. The league isn't denying the merit. They're pushing back on timing and logistics. And Caitlin Clark? Her presence amplifies everything. She's more than a star. She's a catalyst for league growth. Her return isn't just a roster addition. It's a ratings boost, ticket surge, and cultural moment. Yet every delay in the CBA postpones her impact. Every day negotiations drag on, the uncertainty grows, and fans feel the void. Status quo is not neutral. It's a standoff. The players have leverage, the league has deadlines, and the season's momentum hangs by a thread. Caitlin Clark's anticipated return is caught in the middle, and the question isn't if it will happen, but when, and under what circumstances. Here's the bigger picture. This isn't just a negotiation between players and owners, it's a test of the WNBA's trajectory. 15 months of back and forth have created more than just a stalled off-season. They've created doubt among fans, sponsors, and even potential stars considering their future in the league. The CBA negotiations and the looming status quo aren't abstract numbers on a page. They dictate who gets paid, how the season flows, and how the league is perceived nationally. A strike or lockout could derail the narrative that the WNBA is a stable, rising league. And after years of growth, that's dangerous. For a league that's fought tooth and nail for attention alongside the NBA, every lost day is momentum squandered. Culturally, it also sends a message. Caitlin Clark has become a symbol of the league's next generation of superstars, athletes whose talent transcends the court. Fans are waiting for her performances, stories, and highlights. A delayed return or a strike during her prime doesn't just impact games. It impacts engagement, sponsorships, and the credibility of the WNBA as a major sports league. Even for younger players, the stakes are high. The league's reputation for fair treatment, opportunity, and visibility is being tested. If this standoff continues, the ripple effect could impact rookies, draft classes, and international players looking to commit to the WNBA. In short, the 2026 season isn't just another campaign on the calendar. It's a referendum on whether the league can balance growth, player power, and fan expectations, all while giving stars like Caitlin Clark the platform they've earned. Status quo may feel temporary, but its consequences could echo for years. So where does that leave us? For Caitlin Clark, for the WNBA, and for every fan glued to ESPN updates, the truth is simple. The 2026 season is at a crossroads. Status quo isn't safety, it's a warning. The league can't afford delays. Players can't afford compromises. And the fans? We're caught in the middle, waiting for answers that may not come fast enough. Caitlin Clark's return was supposed to be the story of the season. The headlines, the highlights, the excitement, all of it depends on a deal getting done. But as ESPN reports and insiders confirm, the negotiations are grueling, complicated, and dragging on far too long. 15 months, multiple extensions, and still nothing concrete. That's not just frustrating, it's a potential turning point for the league's momentum. But here's the thing. This isn't just doom and gloom. It's also a moment of power and possibility. The players are united, they're patient, and they're pushing for transformational change. The league has a chance to rise to the occasion, to meet them halfway, and to deliver a season that lives up to the hype, with Caitlin Clark leading the charge. At Her Hoops, we'll be tracking every development. Every vote, every announcement, every update matters. Because this isn't just basketball. It's a battle for the future of the WNBA. If you want to stay on top of every twist in the saga, subscribe to Her Hoops, hit that notification bell, and join the conversation below. Drop your thoughts. Do you think the 2026 season will start on time? Will Caitlin Clark's return be delayed? Or is a strike inevitable? The WNBA's story is being written, and right now, we're all watching it unfold.